हाँ. Logical day, everyone, and here we are with the analysis of the passage that we got in the sample paper 2 given by the consortium CLAT 2024. Right now, when you see this passage, let's look. Right, the first two lines that you read, I was an only child and a lonely kid, which meant I spent a lot of time alone reading books. I first Right. And this is something that you have been doing in your mock test. कुछ नरेटिव होता है, कुछ ऑटोबायोग्राफिकल होता है, ठीक है, एक कहानी जैसा चलता है. And this is where many of the people, many of the students find a little problem there. But in yes, I know that most of you have overcome that hurdle now. So if we get such a passage in our CLAT, actual CLAT paper also, so be it. हम तैयार हैं, हमें पता है ऐसे पैसेजेस में ढूंढना क्या होता है और समझना कैसा होता है. दैट इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डू दिस here. So classical literature was full of heroes. The vast majority of them were men who were heroic because they were alone. One man army, aha, hero, अकेला सबसे निपट गया, hero. ठीक है, तो जो men है, see now it is coming up with two three things. One, it is talking about the heroes, right? But secondly, when he mentions that they were men, तो implied meaning हमेशा समझा करो. ठीक है, दिस इज व्हाट आई टेल इन माय क्लासेस आल्सो, कि जो सेंटेंस दिया है वो तो समझ में आएगा, लेकिन उस सेंटेंस के पीछे जो छिपा हुआ सेंटेंस होता है, जो इम्प्लाइड होता है, हिंटेड होता है, वो समझ में आना चाहिए. So if it is mentioning men, definitely somewhere at the back of his mind there is women also, and therefore he is trying to come up with a segregation कि heroic, vast majority of them were men who were heroic because they were alone. Reason be they are alone. Now, the quest narrative was one in which a man whittled away from himself all societal bonds and then, having perfected himself through loneliness, returned triumphant to society. तो उसने पहले सारे रिलेशन हटा दिए, खुद को आगे लेके गया, सक्सेसफुल बना दिया, उसके बाद वो सोसाइटी में आ गया. दिस इज व्हाट अ हीरो इज. Society was still there waiting for him because it had been tended by women who were never alone. तो मैन तो चले जाएगा अकेले दुनिया से दूर, चलो मैं कुछ सर्च करता हूँ, मैं कुछ रिसर्च करता हूँ, कुछ एक्सकवेट करता हूँ, ठीक है. द सोसाइटी इज वेटिंग फॉर हिम. Why? Because it has been tended by the women there. Now, in popular culture, we have the bachelor pad and the bachelor lifestyle, but no such phrases for women. Women who live alone are objects of fear or pity. ये हो जाता है, which is in the forest or Cathy comics. Even the current cultural popularity of female friendship still speaks to how unwilling we all are to accept women without a social framework. Acha, she is living alone. क्या बात है? The family is not with you, or you have not thought of a family, or there is some problem. हमेशा ऐसे ही सोचेंगे if a woman is living alone. A woman who is alone is a woman who is having brunch with a bunch of other women. When a woman is truly alone, it is the result of a crisis. She is grieving, has lost something, is a problem to be fixed. मतलब अगर वुमन अलोन है तो ये सारी चीजें सोसाइटी उससे जानना चाहती है या पूछती है या सोचती है, समझती है कि why is she alone. Man, if he is alone, then nobody is there to ask. This is what the author says. When a woman is truly alone, it is a result of a crisis. She is grieving, has lost something, is a problem to be fixed. Women are the anchors of social labor, the glue pulling the family and then the community together with small talk and good manners and social niceties. Living alone as a woman is not just a luxury, but a refusal to bend into the shape of patriarchal assumption and expectation. ठीक है, यहाँ पे उसने कहा था कि विमेन अगर अलोन है तो ये सब पूछा जाता है या सोचा जाता है, और विमेन हैं क्या एक्चुअली? दे आर द एंकर्स एंड वर्किंग एज ए ग्लू, बाइंडिंग, बेंडिंग, blending or binding all the family and the community together. And living alone as a woman is not just for a woman is not just a luxury, but a refusal to bend into the shape of patriarchal assumption and expectation. Now, as a private tutor and college counselor to students at European boarding schools, my job has often necessitated long term travel. As much as anything else, what I loved about travel was the solitude. Akela rehna pasand. Now, loneliness felt aspirational. बहुत कुछ सोचा जा सकता है. Like a large hotel bed, blank and luxurious and endlessly comforting. I wasn't lonely because I had aimed at being with someone and missed the way women are often portrayed, but because I had aimed squarely at being alone. So we are lonely, or a person is lonely, or a woman is lonely. Why? Because she wants to be alone. Therefore, she goes, and this is what she is saying about herself. And hit the target. ये उन्होंने किया था कि नहीं मैं अकेले रहूंगी और back in New York, I was forced to do the slow, small, and unglamorous work of living better. I cleaned my apartment when no one was coming over, cooking elaborate meals with no guest in mind but myself. I began to learn to say no to things to define space for myself with no one else's need into which to escape. मतलब what she wanted, she would be able to do. It was not an escape into somebody else's need. Why are you doing this? Because somebody else needs it. It becomes more difficult to skid through life on self delusion and comfortable ignorance. Living alone is a confrontation with the mirror, a removal, if only for certain hours of the day, from the social contract. ठीक है, सोसाइटी ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करके रखा है कि एज अ वुमेन हमें क्या क्या करना है. ठीक है, if I choose to live alone, this is what I'm not going to do according to the social contract or according to the patriarchal assumptions. So, living alone is a confrontation with the mirror, a removal, if only for certain hours of the day, from the social contract, outside the systems of manners that grow up around women like strangling vines. Strangling vines का मतलब होता है strangle यानी गला घोट देना. राइट, और वाइन्स का मतलब होता है जहां से ग्रेप्स उगते हैं ना, दे आर द क्रीपर्स. राइट, ग्रेप्स के जो प्लांट्स होते हैं दे आर कॉल्ड द वाइन्स, और द वाइनयार्ड होता है जहां पे ये सब होता है, उगते हैं. और स्ट्रैंगलिंग यानी कैसे गला घोट देगा ना, ऐसे वाइन्स गला गोल गोल घूम के और एंटेंगल होके देन दे वुड सफोकेट or strangle you. So it is becoming the witch in the desert, powerful and watchful and silent, setting visitors on edge. Setting visitors on edge, matlab the people are aware कि ना yes, she is something else. So again, witches in the forest एक बार इधर यूज किया है और एक बार इधर यूज किया है. यहाँ पे कैसे यूज किया है? जैसे fairy tales में witches, if you have read a few fairy tales, you'll find that there are witches and wizards. So 5 questions है इधर. If you remember, CR में 6 questions थे, RC में 5 है. Even last year it was the same. So this year also it might be the same, or this year ऐसे भी हो सकता है फिर कि 6 questions दे दें एक passage में, ये भी possibility है. So always be prepared. Which of the following statements cannot be inferred from the passage? Each of us has a performing or social self which is distinct from a lone or true self. एक performing self है और एक true self है alone. Possible. Women who live alone have greater self-respect than those who live with their families. Self-respect के मामले में कुछ comparison था क्या? नहीं था comparison. ये हो सकता है inferred. Question is about cannot be inferred. Family relies on the women's invisible work. ये भी था. तो उसे first paragraph में men का example दिया था that they go out and then they come back, but the family or the society still waits for them. And it can be in a way to avoid acknowledging your own. ठीक है, यहाँ पर भी था, and this way also you would get the answer. Why does the author consider loneliness as aspirational? So having been a single child, she was used to being alone, or her interactions with the students kept her from feeling too lonely, or it signified an escape from the social expectations. I think you have your answer. ये तो बिल्कुल ही आउट हो जाता है, राइट. स्टूडेंट्स वाली बात उसे मेंशन की थी, but it was not why she considered loneliness as an aspirational. This is what it is. She took it squarely. उसे कहा था, I had aimed squarely at being alone. Third question, image of the witch in the forest appears twice in the passage. So you need to come up with a discussion there, with an explanation there. First instance suggests how women who live alone are represented in the popular media. उनको witch माना जाता है, अकेले रहते हैं. And in the second, it reclaims the image to convey women's deliberate rejection of social pressures. Or the author uses repetition to emphasize how society fears women who live alone. दोनों टाइम पे वो, is she afraid? Is the society afraid? No. The first refers to the women who have no choice but to live alone, and the second suggests women who consciously choose. Second, ठीक है, they consciously choose, but the first में it was not about they have no choice. They who live alone are objects of pity. That means how the society sees them. ये थे. A second time पे क्या था? It is becoming the witch in the desert now what she has become. Okay? So it is two different aspects. What is the meaning of the phrase whittle away? It was there in the first paragraph. And to reduce the amount of value of something, whittle away यानी just to brush something aside. Here. ऑल सोसाइटल बॉन्ड्स को हटा दिया था, फिर वो चले गए थे, सक्सेसफुल हो गए थे. जैसे पूरी दुनिया छोड़ के हिमालय चले गए, हिमालय में 10-20 साल रहे, उसके बाद वापस आ गए, तो दुनिया वैसी की वैसी है उनके लिए इंतजार में. दैट इज व्हाट द ऑथर इज सेइंग हियर. ही रिटर्न्स ट्रायम्फेंट टू द सोसाइटी एंड द सोसाइटी इज देयर वेटिंग फॉर हिम. Which change in the underlying sentence in the passage above will make it grammatically correct? ग्रामर का छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है, लेकिन हम जब नॉर्मली पढ़ेंगे तो यूज योर इंस्टिंक्ट and let us see what is wrong in that replaced. What we need to replace is cooking with cooked. Sentence may I'll go there here. Right, underline sentence देखिए. I cleaned my apartment when no one was coming over. And cooking elaborate. देखो, when you read it in the first go समझ में नहीं आएगा, लेकिन ध्यान से समझो. What did you do? Two things. I cleaned my apartment, past, simple past tense, when no one was coming over. ये that is one part. And के साथ वापस से simple past लगेगा. That is the trick of the word and. And जहां पर कहीं भी लगेगा, it is going to take two similar things before it and after it. Only then we can add the word and. So here if I have cleaned, past tense, here too I need the word cooked as a past tense. So replacing cooking with cooked, then it would be a correct sentence. And that is all for today. So what I would say is continue with your reading articles, reading of the articles from various newspapers. Yes, so 10 to 12 articles various newspapers से पढ़ना ही है. इतना करना ही है तो various genres भी आ जाएंगे. और फिर तुम्हारे पास जितने स्टडी मटेरियल में या कहीं पे भी जो भी passages हैं तुम्हारे पास, kindly do them and understand the author's point, because that is what you need. That's all. And all the best. Stay logical.